Welcome to the Association 100. I'm Colin Gallagher, coming to you from ASAE's 2024 annual conference. And I'm really excited today to welcome Annette Gregg, the CEO of the Society for Incentive Travel Excellence. Annette, thanks for joining me.
Thanks for having me. It's great to be here.
So one of the big things for associations, for your industry, is attracting that next generation right now. Can you share some strategies that site is implementing to really engage and attract those younger professionals?
Yeah, I think this is such a fascinating topic because if you think about a lot of associations, at least in my space, which I'll call the business event space, they started right around 50 years ago, 50, 60 years ago. And the reason why that generation, which is now the boomers and a little bit of my generation, Gen X, why we joined, we just can't assume that's the same reason why a Gen Zer or even Gen Alpha might join. So I have a 24-year-old son and I'm always calibrating everything against him. And he's in our space, but he's not necessarily a joiner. So I think we just, as association professionals, really need to challenge ourselves to think differently about what does membership mean? And are we serving just a membership or are we serving the community? So SITE is a global association of just 3,000 members. And although that's an all-time high for us, I don't know if we're ever going to be that, massive, because we're pretty niche. Incentive travel is a niche within the business event space. So is our goal to just get to 3,100 or is our goal to speak to 200,000 incentive professionals? And if it's a community approach where your members always treated special, but you're really talking to the greater community, then I've got the opportunity to really attract a larger group of this younger generation as well. So I think that's the first thing for us is just really challenging ourselves to look at the joining value proposition. And are they joiners? And are they joiners right away? Are they joiners after they've tried a few things with us? And why do they join? If they join, is it to advance career or is it to get discounts? Really just kind of unpeeling the onion all the way back.
I love that you're thinking about it like that because I do think, Gen X and even older millennials, like what you did, just join the association.
That's right.
That was what you did, but it's not. So you have to address that now. So that's a really good way to think about it.
Yeah.
And I think similarly, so by next year, we're looking at millennials are going to make up 75% of the workforce. We've got Gen Z on the scene now.
Yeah.
So tell me, how is SITE adapting your offerings, the value prop, to meet the evolving needs for these younger professionals and their expectations too? Because that has changed.
Truly. And there's so much great data out there. So if you take even just looking at like HR data from a Gallup or something, and what is that younger employee looking for in a company? It's really the same value proposition, what they might be looking for in an association. And I'll just start with kind of the biggest word that comes glaring at us is just authenticity. They really want a brand, whether it's an association or the company that they get the paycheck from, to stand for something more than just the bottom line. This generation's been exposed to a lot of junk already, whether it's COVID and the global meltdown of twice, really, from 08 and 09. And
what a different way to grow up.
Truly,
right?
And so the whole business proposition of like, hey, we'll just keep advancing and the steady paycheck is what drives them. They're not interested in that at all. They know that money is a means to an end and there's nothing wrong with financial security, but they're going to go about it in a very different way. So even attracting them to, say, a job by saying, you start at the bottom and then in 5 years you might get promoted, that is a complete turnoff. They're very, very confident. They're very tech savvy and they do think that they already come into the workforce with a package of skills that should enable them or justify them being even like on a fast track immediately. So for me as an older manager, older leader, it's like, gosh, how can I unlock that potential and actually really leverage that potential of extreme entrepreneurialism to benefit my organization while still putting a little guardrails in place because they still have some to learn, right? There's still some mentoring that needs to happen, just some general business acumen that needs to happen. But at the same time, it's like I want to unlock that kind of spirit immediately because I think my association can thrive from that. My membership can thrive. So for SITE, we've always had, since about 2006, we've had what we call a Young Leaders Initiative, which includes a board seat. So we actually have a seat on our global board for somebody.
Smart.
Yeah. It's been really, really great. And actually, I remember joining SITE way back then thinking this was the only association in our space that even had this. So SITE's been pretty cool, ahead of the curve in that way. But then in addition to the board seat, Colleen, it translates to all of our chapters have a chapter seat for young leaders, we'll call it, and then also a young leaders community. So that forms at the local level, that folds up to a global community, and then they run their own conference every year. They run their own curriculum, and now they're doing a mentorship program and a college initiative. So it's always been a part of our, at least for the last 20 years, a part of our association, which I'm so grateful for.
That's huge because I think so many associations are just starting to say, how do we do this? And you guys have been walking that walk now for 20 years.
It's really cool. It really is cool because you go to these local chapters and they'll have young leader only events. And I guess that's the other take home is that they meet and don't we all want this? You want to walk into a room where you kind of feel like I belong here. And if we expect a 24-year-old to walk in a room and there's all 55-year-olds, they're going to be like, boy, these are not my people. So they need to feel safe. And so we need more of these people in the fold so they generate more interest from others, and they breed more interest from that generation.
Yeah. Well, building on that. So now global, everything's global, and so much of our work world is remote.
Yeah.
You mentioned community earlier. And I think that community is so important now, especially for so many people who spend years locked in their houses and not being able to connect. How are you guys creating those meaningful connections?
Yeah, boy, it's really tricky. So we're 100% virtual. I'll say there's pockets of employees, kind of a few in Chicago and then a few in Dublin, Ireland, but the rest of us are all remote. And there's about 20 of us on staff. And I think, again, just keep it generationally wise. If I have younger employees, seems to me they're very into asynchronous work, and that flexibility right now is very, very important to them because they do find balance important, and they might want to go to the gym at 10 in the morning, and they might do their best work at 10 at night. And so they're looking for asynchronous opportunities and ways to contribute, still wanting to be a part of a team, but really not being held to that traditional 8 to 5, lock me at a desk sort of environment. So as far as building camaraderie around that, I first of all have to create an environment where that's okay. I mean, we have team meetings, we have certain times where I want these folks to show up, but in the end, I'm really managing to their productivity and to their output. So kind of putting everyone on the same page there. So making sure everyone understands those expectations. It's not about a certain time frame, but a timing of let's make sure we're all on the same page with getting the work done by this date.
Still delivering.
Exactly. So that's kind of the first step is just alignment on expectations. But the second one is that when we do get together, so we do about 6 conferences a year, and I'm really trying to make those intentional. How can I repurpose those to do meetups and to do team bonding during that way? And we also started a team retreat, which we didn't really do before, but now it's everybody flies into Chicago, even the Irish teammates, and we budget for it and make sure we're doing that at least once a year. So just making the live events that we have a little more intentional and flying more people in for those, and then committing to the team retreat. And then we have some other things that we've added to even our monthly team calls, some more peer-to-peer recognition, and we'll start every call out with that and just ways to honor each other. So that helps, little things, but I think we're a pretty cohesive team. It's really helped us.
The intentionality makes such a difference. And having those moments where you can come together, because then it's less daunting, especially for a young person to say, oh, I got to Slack someone or call someone. And I don't really know them. And but now they know that. And they can do it.
Right, right. It does work. And we just check in all the time. I really haven't even started the annual review process because it's really more of, I try to get the supervisors and managers to have more of a monthly check-in. We want to make sure it's not just those workers, the younger ones, but really everybody is invested and we're hitting on the right things for them. And if we're not, let's course correct then instead of waiting till the end of the year, So far it's working. We'll see how it goes.
That's fantastic. Well, Annette, this was great. And I know our listeners and viewers will love this. So thank you so much for joining us on the A100 today.
Thank you.